Oh shit, they're talking about a game.
Well, I was actually hoping that you would invite me up for the Fermi paradox part, because this has been a very surreal weekend and week for me. One of the really great things is all the people coming out of the woodwork to offer support for the company, offer advice. So I got introduced today. And actually, I should say I just randomly downloaded Clubhouse a couple of days ago just to see what it was all about. So this is my first time literally using the app. But
Is that the CEO of the GameStop?
Your friend Antonio, Elon, who had some good advice for me, and then introduced me to you. You had some great advice, and then I figured, I heard about this Clubhouse, and this has got to be part of the simulation. So I just thought, why not? So here I am. So I'm actually an adherent to the simulation hypothesis.
All right. Well, spill the beans, man. What happened last week? Why couldn't people buy the GameStop shares?
Oh, he's the guy in Robinhood.
People demand an answer, and they want to know the details of the truth.
Yep. Okay, so let me start by giving a little bit of background. So I'm the chief executive of Robinhood. Robinhood's actually
Just go on.
I think people are going to start cursing you right now if you don't give any good answer, man.
Companies. So there's an introducing broker-dealer called Robinhood Financial, and that basically is the app that you know and love. It processes trades. You're a customer of Robinhood Financial. Then there's a clearing broker-dealer, Robinhood Securities, that clears and settles the trades. And then we have Robinhood Crypto, which is our crypto business. All of these are kind of different entities.
Just Elon Musk and Robinhood CEO right now.
Basically, Wednesday of last
week, the Robinhood CEO is talking.
We just had, unprecedented volume, unprecedented load on the system. A lot of these, so-called meme stocks were, going viral on social media, and people were joining Robinhood, and there was a lot of net buy activity on them, as you guys all know. And Robinhood at this time, I think, was number one on the iOS App Store, and pretty close, if not number one, on Google Play as well. So just unprecedented activity. And so Thursday morning, right? So I'm sleepy, but at 3:30 a.m. Pacific, our operations team receives a file from the NSCC, which is
not an interview. This is a deposition.
Basically, as a clearing broker, and this is where Robinhood Securities comes in. We have to put up money to the NSCC based on some factors, including things like the volatility of the trading activity, concentration into certain securities. This is the equities business, so it's based on stock trading and not options trading or anything else. So they give us a file with a deposit, and the request was around $3 billion, which is about an order of magnitude more than what it typically is, right? So
why is that still high? Like, this seems like it sounds like this is an unprecedented increase in demand for capital. What formula did they use to calculate that?
Well, and just to give context, Robinhood up until that point has raised, a little bit, around $2 billion in total venture capital up until now. So it's a big number. Like $3 billion is a large number, right? So basically,
so it's more than 1.5 billion. Just on Robinhood. On Robinhood.
We don't have the full details. It's a little bit.
It's more than 3 billion from the Reddit.
There's a component called the
on Robinhood
of it.
Just on Robinhood.
Which is value at risk, and that's based on kind of some fairly quantitative things, although it's not fully transparent. So there are ways to reverse engineer it, but it's not kind of publicly shared.
weird that you'd get a sudden $10 billion
That's Elon.
demand, you know, $3 billion more. Sorry, how much? Yeah. It was $3 billion US. Like,
Is there anything shady?
Around, you know, just suddenly out of nowhere. And what percent? I wouldn't impute shadiness to it or anything like that. And actually, you know, the NSCC was reasonable subsequent to this, and you know, they worked with us to actually lower it. So it was unprecedented activity. You know, I don't have the full context about you know, what's going on in the NSCC to make these calculations, but yeah, essentially, it was a large number.
Someone holding you hostage right now.
What is that?
No, I'm okay.
Be honest, dude.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. But anyway, so this was obviously nerve-wracking, and I actually was asleep at this point. You know, the operations team was fielding this at 3:00, and then you know, we got back, we put our heads together. You know, our chief operating officer basically said, "Look, let's call up the higher ups at the NSCC and kind of figure out what's going on. Maybe there's some way we can work with them." And basically, there was another call, and they lowered it to something like $1.4 billion from $3 billion. So, okay, we were making some progress, right? And then
What the fuck?
Number. And then we basically proposed, well, let's explain how we plan to let's explain how, you know, we'll manage risk in these symbols throughout the day. We proposed marking these volatile stocks that were kind of driving the activity, position closing only, and then at about an hour before market open, so 5:30 or 5 in the morning, they came back and they said, okay, the charge is, or the deposit's $700 million, which we then deposited and paid promptly, and then everything was fine.
So they're saying he was.
So
they're like afraid that the $3 billion is going to crash the market.
We had to mark these symbols position closing only, and also why, you know, we knew this was a bad outcome for customers. You know, part of what's been really difficult is Robinhood stands for, you know, democratizing access to stocks, and
Yes.
we want to give people the access. So that's been very, very
You just
challenging.
shit yourself in the
But
face.
we had no choice in this case. We had to conform to our regulatory capital requirements, and so the team did what they could to make sure we were available for customers.
What?
Who controls this organization, this clearinghouse?
You know, it's a consortium. It's not quite a government agency. You know, I don't really know the details of all of that.
That's where the shadiness is.
Okay, but you know, and to be fair, like we were. I think there was legitimate sort of turmoil in the markets. Like, these are unprecedented events with these meme stocks, and you know, there was a lot of activity.
What is he afraid of? That's the key. Is he afraid of the market crash?
Some risk in the system that warrants higher requirements. So it's not entirely unreasonable. But we did operational processes to make sure that customers that had positions could sell their open positions, because obviously restricting
Right,
someone,
that's what you want.
About, okay, you had to restrict buying. Why didn't you also restrict selling? And the fact of the matter is, people get really pissed off if they're holding stock and they want to sell it and they can't, right? So I think that's
right, because that's what you want, asshole.
So, and lots of other brokers, I think, were in the same situation. Robinhood was in the news, but you sort of heard this industry-wide, right? Other brokers basically restricted the same exact activity.
All right, so it sounds like this organization, you know, calls you up and they basically have a gun to your head, either hand over this money or else. And so, because I mean, basically what people are wondering is, like,
did you sell your clients down the river, or did you have no choice? And if you had no choice, that's understandable. But then, we're going to find out why you had no choice.
Elon's right.
People that are saying you have no choice. Yeah, I think that's fair. We have to comply with these requirements. Financial institutions have requirements.
That's why we don't need them anymore.
These requirements, I think.
We're gonna
it would
run,
obviously be
run,
ideal
run,
if there was a little bit more transparency, so we could plan better around that.
I think that's kind of the whole point of this whole, jamming thing, right?
Our customers, and 24 hours later, our team raised over $1 billion in capital, so that when we
because the peasants are too small to deal with that.
When we do open tomorrow morning, we'll be able to kind of relax the stringent position limits that we put on these securities on Friday.
Will there be any limits?
Well, I think there's always going to be some theoretical limit, like we don't have infinite capital.
Right.
And on Friday there were limits, so there's always...
Yeah, right now you can probably hold one share of each
I think the question is,
on those stocks.
Will the limits be high enough to the point where, they won't impact...
Where did those shares go?
99.9+% of customers. So, if someone were to deposit $100 billion and decide to trade in one stock like that, that wouldn't be possible,
Why not? Why not?
All right. Well, I guess people really just want to know, if you had no choice, then you had no choice. It's a gun-to-head situation, and then that's understandable. But then if you put that gun to your head, you should, be willing to answer the public. Yeah, listen, and I know there's processes. This is unprecedented times, and to be fair to those guys,
Who said that 3 times?
Reasonable. So we are. I think the one thing that
he said that 3 times. It means that's reversed. Or he's been saying it for a while.
So we do get a lot of questions about why do you work with market makers? Why do you work with clearing houses? Vertically integrating and getting. It's hard enough to build introducing a clearing broker dealer. Not too many people.
Well, if you work with the investor, with the investors,
that allows customers
you might. I don't know if they'll become the biggest
sort of a
fund, but right now they're
multiple parties.
They're under the bus now.
It's hard to. Everyone says, it could be better, it could be improved. It's just the necessity of trading equities in the U.S. that you have to do all these things.
To what degree are you beholden to Citadel? Basically, if Citadel's unhappy, then what happens?
He's talking about Citadel now.
Yeah, so that there was a rumor that Citadel or other market makers kind of pressured us into doing this, and now that's just false, right? Market makers execute our trades. They execute trades of every broker dealer. This was a clearinghouse. This was a clearinghouse decision, and it was just based on the capital requirements. So.
Well, the thing is, right now nobody believes you.
Citadel and
you could be right, but nobody believes you. So what's the point?
We're involved in that.
But wouldn't they have a strong say in who?
That doesn't explain why.
In charge of that organization, since it's an industry consortium, not a government consortium, or not a government regulatory agency.
If what he said is right, the only
I don't have any reason to believe that. I think that's just then you're getting into kind of the conspiracy theories a little bit. So I just
it's not about it's a little bit about conspiracy theory,
case,
but
okay.
But in this case, if he's following the rule, and then which means the rules are in favor of those big market makers, right? Instead of the investors, I guess. That's the only explainable, reasonable explanation, right? If the rules are not fair, the regulations are not fair. It sounds to me the regulations are not quite fair.
Thank you so much. Deep, I'm appreciative, and I'm sure everyone in the audience here and watching us read deep. So thank you so much.
He said, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and also thank you everyone for listening. And I know we went way over Elon. Elon, please, every time we do this show,
Thank you, Indian customer service.
Pick a song that fits the person we're interviewing. So I'm going to play us out of the show with a song that I think you might like. Gary, hit it.
Okay, this is it, guys.
Elon, great song. Thank you so much. This was a
My
great
song.
internet moment. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you everybody for watching, for listening.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Ross, you have the floor. Jesus.
That was a holy fuck, everyone.
Wow, dude. Elon should have interviewed himself.
No
That was
kidding.
crazy. Dude would be a killer podcast host. He's like a fucking investigative journalist.
Yes.
I had no idea he was going to take Vlad to task like that.
That was
Throw him under the bus.
Oh my God.
Throw him under the fucking bus.
I couldn't laugh out loud.
And he did it so well. He was like nice about his questions, and then we just listened to like Vlad fumble and talk about details that he admits that he doesn't know. Like that was its.
Leave your comment, guys. Leave your comments.
It's not necessarily.
This is golden. This is why I'm waiting. Let's just stay on there for an hour and a half.
He's lying.
The last part is golden.
Lying is bullshit, and being CEO of a company during a crisis and not knowing those key details, like how is that believable? And if it is true, that's horrifying.
Told you. Nobody believes him, dude. Nobody believes him.
You know, I was laughing at him at the end. If you guys
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Start moving it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, by the way, we are happy to help you do that on Monday morning.
Sounds good, Ross.
Ross, what's the
I've been retweeting you all weekend, Ross.
Listen,
Golly, Rob Mauer, what do you guys think?
Ross, real question. What's it like to spin through your platform? I've never worked with them.
It's honestly like it's the same as everybody's platform, other than it works. You know.
Oh, then it works.
Fair enough.
Savage.
So,
I
Ross,
just want to say, sorry, thanks to Joy for picking up the slack when I lost connection. The accent,
yeah, that was awesome. That was so awesome.
I was amazed that
thank
it
you.
worked for so long, honestly.
Thank you so much, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm glad I stayed here.
Yeah.
Nothing stops Tesla people. Nothing will stop us.
Nope, we tag team.
Exactly. Damn. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe he brought on the Robinhood dude.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
you're right, Eva. It doesn't sound very,
He asked him if
you know, it doesn't sound like he believes what he's saying, you know. I agree with you, Eva.
Judge Dredd Elon.
Judge Elon.
Pre-planned, like Elon already knew what the
Roasted the Robinhood CEO. Elon already roasted Robinhood CEO.
it was probably planned.
Throw him under the bus and he can't even say nothing.
Like this all sounds like it was just very last minute, and then it seemed like something Elon almost wanted to do. He was like, "Hey, let's hijack this." Like I've never seen anything like this.
Dude, yeah. I'm the captain now.